First rule of the hunter world, don't get eaten. She broke it on purpose, walked straight into its mouth, let it close, and robbed the thing from the inside. No sword, no party, no backup, because her skill doesn't kill. It takes. Whatever you can do, she can do it next. Rank F to A took her 20 years. It wasn't enough, and that monster was hiding a god, a broken one. So the god does what broken gods do. It cheats. The god wants his 6 missing pieces back, and every last one is sitting inside something that eats people. She's got her own list. He makes her strong. She makes him whole. Nobody involved here is a good person, so let's go back to the day it all broke. January 1st, 2030. The sky over the city cracks open and starts spitting out holes. Down at street level, nobody's looking up yet. Traffic, phones, another ordinary morning. Then a girl in headphones hears something that isn't traffic. She turns around and there's a dragon's head hanging over her with its mouth already open. She screams. It doesn't help. That's the morning the world completely fell apart, and at that exact moment, the sky lights up a second time. All over the world, ordinary people start feeling something switch on inside them. A kid throws out a hand and the air answers. He lifts both arms and everything above him detonates. People chosen by the constellations were handed power, no questions asked. It came with special traits bolted on. Everyone starts calling them skills. Somebody calls out a skill name and a pillar of light does the rest, and the monsters get wiped out. Humanity wins. Roll credits. But then, 2 hunters look up at something and one of them can't finish the sentence. The other one asks if that's supposed to be the gate boss. It answers by putting a foot through the ground. This is what the Awakeners were about to face. Their leader screams at everyone to gear up. One of them turns with a sword up and something enormous already behind him. He can hear it moving. He doesn't want to look. A threat so big that not even they could stop it. You can hear it chewing. It's starving. That's the whole thought. There's a hunter standing right in front of it, and all it can think about is more. More. It stretches a hand out and demands more. Somebody finally puts a name to it and screams at everyone to fall back. Abomination. In the middle of that stampede, a woman crouches down and tells her daughter Yujin to listen carefully. Turn around. Run for the exit of the gate. Understood. No room for discussion. Yujin starts to argue. Her mother just holds a hand out. Yujin takes it. Light pours out between their palms, and she realizes something is being written into her. Gluttony. S rank. Absorbs the target's skill. Yujin wants to know how. As in, Mom, you were a hunter this entire time. She gets told later. Behind them, the thing is still hungry, still asking for more. Yujin points out there's a monster right over there. Her mother tells her to focus on her voice instead. Take the skill and run, she says. Yujin says no chance. Not without her. Go. Then her mother is begging, telling her she's their last hope. Yujin stands there crying, while her mother's hands reach for her one more time. Then she turns and runs. Her mother says goodbye, and then live a happy life, said with that thing already standing over her. Her mother's last words were, live a happy life, and every time Yujin replayed it, she asked herself the same thing. How could a daughter who abandoned her own mother ever deserve an ending like that? She walks out of that gate an F rank with exactly 1 skill, functionally a civilian. That wasn't going to cut it. She wanted revenge, and revenge costs power, so she never stopped pushing forward. She starts picking fights with things made of solid rock, throws herself into every gate that'll take her, never backs down from a single one. F to D, D to C, C to B, B to A. She figured if she got stronger than she was back then, she'd finally be able to protect what was hers. She swore she'd never lose anyone important to her again. That's what she chose to believe. Then she's on her knees in the wreckage, asking Jin Seoho if he remembers the day he pulled her out of a gate. He says how could he forget? They got split up at the orphanage, and he thought he'd lost her for good. That was the day fate gave them a second chance, she tells him. He laughs about it. She snaps. He lost his right arm, keeping her alive, and now he's dying in front of her. She asks if he really doesn't have a single regret. His hand comes up, shaking, and doesn't get very far. Being with her was enough to make him happy. That's his answer. So please, she says, you have to stay alive. And he asks her to promise him she'll be happy. And then the street goes quiet, and there's nothing left but dust and drifting light. First her mother, now him. She asks why everyone keeps begging her for the one thing she is incapable of. Live happily. Die in peace. As if a person like her ever deserved an ending like that. She's still holding on to him when something shifts behind her. The thing that did all of this is still in here with her. It complains the gate is too big, then clocks that she's the last human breathing and decides to eat her whole. She tells it that eating like that will kill it. High cholesterol, you ugly monster. Then she asks it if it's really that starved, why not take a bite out of her teeth? Wish granted, it tells her. She knows she doesn't stand a chance against this thing. Doesn't stop her. The mouth closes. Every tooth comes back red. And then, somewhere inside itself, it starts asking what the hell is going on. Because she's still in one piece, drifting through something full of stars. Eyes shut, weightless, calm, for the first time in a very long time. time. Perfect, she says. She made it into the abomination's core. Now the only question is which skill she's ripping out of it. Then something catches her attention. She settles on one. She could feel it instantly. What she needed wasn't any of those bright lights. It was the pitch black darkness sitting underneath them. No shine, no glow, nothing anybody would ever pick on purpose. She reaches down and takes it anyway, and the core goes off like a struck match. The system tells her a piece of something called Dawn of October's evolution just resonated with her power, and every constellation watching has gone stiff with fear. They're calling her a complete lunatic. Whatever just opened its eyes finds that hilarious and decides to grant her a second chance. Rewinding time. Somebody is shouting at her, asking if she could ring this up already, and Yujin comes back to herself behind a counter, in a cap, staring at a customer. The guy is mid-pitch about some new product that apparently threw away taste, smell, and nutrition. He tells her again to ring it up. She has absolutely no idea what just happened. She's alive, and she can't work out how. She is positive she got torn apart by that abomination. None of this makes sense, so she bolts, yelling something at her coworker about an emergency bathroom situation, straight through the door, and she finally gets a proper look at her own face. There's no mistaking it. This is 20 years ago, back when she was working part-time. Then a voice asks if she's finally come to her senses. She swears out loud. The voice tuts at her language. She asks the obvious question, is there a voice inside my head? Correct, it says, and offers to break it down slowly for her primitive human intellect. She's regressed. It's the one who summoned her back. Name, Dawn of October's evolution. It repeats itself in case the mortal wasn't paying attention. A constellation, sure. It tells her it must be hard to swallow, being granted an audience with its divine self. She tells it to cut the crap and quit making things up. Long pause. It asks her to say that again. There's zero chance a real constellation ends up trapped inside an abomination's body. It starts stammering. She finishes the sentence for it, half-baked. Incomplete. It loses it completely. She notes that she's hit a nerve. Then she asks what the name was again. October something? It calls her a little pest. Whatever, she says. It chose her. It said it chose her, which means there's a reason. A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. All right then, she says. Let's hear what you've got, Donnie. Beings of absolute power. They reshape heaven and earth with a single thought, and they play with human lives like chess pieces. Stand in front of something that big, and people usually go one of two ways. Either they drop to their knees and worship, or they freeze up in pure terror. This human's reaction is something else entirely. She tells it to hurry up and spit it out already. Bird brain. How dare you, it says. How dare a mortal address Dawn of October's evolution as bird brain, a filthy little nobody like her. The sheer insolence of it. Then the floor cracks apart under her Crocs and she gets out a single confused, it's going to make her know her place. Whoa there. And Yujin goes falling straight through a hole in reality. Does she see this endless void, human? Because it could leave her floating in here forever. She says floating around like this is actually pretty cozy. Total, uninterrupted peace. If it went to all that trouble saving her life just to pull a stunt like this, be its guest. Also, it can stop calling her human every 2 seconds. The name is Tae Yujin. She adds that a guy called Bird Brain sure has a lot to say for himself. It says her name back to her. Yujin. Pathetic, insignificant Yujin. It knew the name. It just didn't think she'd earned it, because it knows everything about her, right down to her deepest desires. Her entire soul is drowning in regret, isn't it? Regret over every single time she stood there and did nothing, and she can't argue. With a constellation's authority, she would never have to feel that weak again. She remembers exactly what that weakness cost her, and who she was holding when it did, except that only applies if it's operating at full strength, Bird Brain. She asks how broken it actually is right now, considering it got sealed away. It laughs. She's sharper than she looks. Yes, it is currently incomplete. Once it was whole and majestic. Now its power is shattered into scattered fragments, which makes collecting those pieces and putting it back together her job. She stops it there. Aren't constellations supposed to be divine beings? Even gods meet their end eventually, it tells her. She notes that he completely dodged the question. Fine, setting that aside. How is she meant to track them down when she doesn't know how many exist or where they're hidden? It asks whether she hasn't already run into one herself. Her face drops. 6 left, each one buried deep inside the body of an abomination. It asks her if she's afraid. Nope. She's already kicked the bucket once. There's nothing left to be scared of. Commendable attitude, it says. But sheer grit on its own won't be enough, so it hands her something. Hidden skill unlocked. Gearwork domain. Rank triple S. Power has been bestowed. What she does with it from here is entirely her problem. She never even heard rumors of a rank that insane in her past life. With this, she never has to repeat her old failures. Her exact assessment. Absolute jackpot. Briefing over. It tells her she should know precisely what her next move needs to be, and it warns her not to make it regret picking her. Then it folds her back through space, and she complains that warping feels like being in a car crash. She lands with both hands over her face. Empty stalls, tiled floor, fluorescent lighting. Wait, is she back in the restroom? It pops out of thin air, and she nearly hits the ceiling. It's question. Is she diving straight into a gate? Eventually, but legally, she has to register as an official hunter first. It asks what happens if she skips that part. 30 million won in fines, or a 5-year stay in prison. There's even a poster telling people to report illegal awakeners. Then she walks out and announces she's going in unregistered today regardless. It asks how exactly. People start sprinting past her, and she just asks if it's starting already. It's still shouting at her about how she plans to get inside, over the sound of everyone screaming. It complains that she is tuning it out completely. She asks whether it's really a god, because the nagging is relentless. She's already moving. Today just happens to be the day a gate break triggers, and if she gets dragged inside during an outbreak, it legally doesn't count as unauthorized entry. 20 years ago, she was just scrambling to keep breathing. As a lowly F rank, there was exactly one thing she could do: run like hell and hide. People got torn apart right in front of her, and she didn't have the strength to help any of them. All she could do was pray her turn wasn't next. But everything is different now. She's got a constellation backing her. She knows how the future unfolds, and this time, she actually has real power. It absolutely loves this. That's the spirit. Go ahead and tear through them to her heart's content. Somewhere in the dark, something with 8 legs starts moving. The gate spirals up out of the square like a staircase into the storm. That was the plan all along, she says. A flashy debut always makes a better impression, don't you think? She pulls up the gate specs. Doll's Manor. Unstable energy. No entry restrictions. Unlimited capacity. Objective: kill the boss. Difficulty: D, exactly as she remembers it. Which means every hidden trap and every monster spawn will be identical too. Which means one particular creep should be right about there. It tells her to steel herself. She says it's about time for the main event. Goblin doll. E-rank monster. It swings a wooden club roughly the size of a lamppost at her head. An E-rank trash mob, she says. Total walk in the park. A second one comes down on her from above. She slides out from underneath it. Alright then, time to do this properly. She drops into a crouch and sets her feet. It asks what the holdup is. Hey, Birdbrain. Current equipment. 1 convenience store vest, paying a whopping $10,321 an hour. Footwear. The undisputed king of the long shift. Crocs. Total assets. Broke. She does not have a weapon. Which means, yep, for now, time to run for their lives. The plan was simple. Blitz straight through the monsters. Take first place on the board, and make an insanely cool entrance while doing it. That was the main plan anyway. In practice, she's sprinting down a corridor with something enormous behind her. This was not supposed to go down like this, she says. Birdbrain asks if that's what she calls a grand entrance. She tells it to shut up for 5 seconds. She doesn't even have a weapon, so what exactly is she meant to do? Then she stops running and puts her fist through a doll's face. She's already moving again before it hits the ground. Even without a weapon, she can still beat these things to a pulp with her bare hands. She walks off, leaving it in pieces. Her instincts haven't rusted away completely after all. If she just keeps this up, she can handle 2 more of them are standing right behind her. Yeah, no, there is no way in hell she's handling this. Time to run. Picking them off one at a time is going to take forever. Birdbrain asks what her plan is. Then she spots the statue. She drops low and lines it up. Screw it. All or nothing. The doll swings at her. Just a little bit more. Just a tiny bit further. Her fingers find it. So does a giant green hand. She grabs hold and throws herself forward, and the floor disappears. Ouch. Birdbrain asks what kind of idiot dives headfirst into a trap. It points out that with her physical stats, she's never opening this lock from the inside. She says she aimed to fall down here from the start. Maybe not quite this violently. Down here? What for? There's literally nothing in this pit. In her past life, she was clinging to survival with everything she had. She just wanted to live, whatever it took. But trapped at the bottom of this exact pit, she was convinced there were no exits left and no way she was getting out alive. And right at that moment, when she'd given up on everything and was just lying there waiting to die, somebody called down. Is anybody down there? Hang on, I'm pulling you out right now. He came and rescued her, just like he did right now. She's already smiling before she looks up. Tae Yujin? There he is. She tells him he took his damn sweet time getting here. The bastard. He says he never thought he'd run into her in a dump like this. He asks how she got stuck down there. She objects to the word stuck. She slipped and fell, which is completely different. He decides she must have known somebody would bail her out, showing up right on cue to save the day. He pulled the exact same trick in their past life too. And speaking of which, his right arm is still completely intact. He wants to escort her back to the safe zone first. They can't drag a civilian deeper into a raid. Lee Kang-yoon reminds his boss that the priority here is clearing the gate. Chae Kyung agrees. They can't lose time on one civilian. What if the gate surges while they're gone? Yusul suggests settling it with rock, paper, scissors. Yujin asks if these guys are friends of his too. One of them was up all night running raids and is completely wiped. The other one points out that his real life is already a dungeon crawl. She doesn't really know them, because these 3 are going to die right here anyway. Seoho says fine, he'll take escort duty himself. She tells him there's no need, because she's already awakened. Since when? He says. What's her rank? Birdbrain notes that she lies with a completely straight face. Chae Kyung says it changes nothing. If she only awakened just now, she's no different from a civilian who can't hold a weapon properly. She said she awakened just now. She never said she doesn't know how to handle a gun. She lifts the sidearm straight off Chae Kyung's hip. One one shot. How's that look? Still think she looks like a total amateur? Nobody has anything to say. Discussion over. She's moving out. Double time. Chae Kyung would quite like her gun back. They fall in behind her instead. First time since their orphanage days 20 years ago. She remembers staring at his back exactly like this back then too. Back then some kid had a boy pinned on the floor and was taking swings at him. He was grinning about it. He never noticed what was coming up behind him. Yujin got there first, and Seoho just sat there going bright red. She never brought it up again. This time for sure. Seoho catches her hand. Tae Yujin. He's going to protect her, so stay right behind him. The exact same words he used 20 years ago. She actually smiles at that. No, this time she's the one who's going to keep him safe. He stays behind her. He laughs. This time, then Yusul stops dead. The boss chamber door. It's way bigger than Seoho expected. Somebody asks how they're supposed to unlock it at all. He tells them to stand back. He'll handle it. She tells him to get his guild members inside first. He doesn't follow. She puts a hand on the door. Something on the other side answers. It just unlocked on its own. Kang Yoon decides that works out nicely and saves them the hassle. Chae Kyung wants to head in first. Seoho isn't really listening anymore. Seoho? Because she refuses to repeat the exact same tragic mistake. Seoho, please understand her. Even if she has to betray his friends, even if she pushes them straight to their deaths, as long as he makes it out alive, she'll gladly carry the guilt for eternity. In her last life, a squad finishes a raid. They barely put the thing down and they know it. Their leader wants the loot grabbed so they can get out. Somebody asks if they shouldn't patch up the rest of the squad first. The rest of the squad is on the floor, and the floor is not clean. For real? He asks if they seriously want to waste time on dead weight after the nightmare those people dragged them through. Forget them. Don't waste potions. If they don't want to die, they can crawl out on their own. One of them adds that if the useless ones kick the bucket, they can just recruit new members. He's laughing when he says it, and down on the ground, a girl with cracked glasses is begging them to save her. If they leave her here, she's going to die. Then go ahead and die. Must be an F-rank thing, he says. She really can't take a hint. Come on, let's move. No, she can't die yet. Her revenge hasn't even begun. She refuses to die in a dump like this. She refuses, and something behind her eyes changes. That was the moment everything changed. There are people around her still breathing, barely. In order to stay alive, skill activation, gluttony. She started stealing abilities from other people, ripping the skills off the dying. She had to survive at all costs, because she still had a score to settle, so she kept moving, even if it meant. She never once looked back, walking a path that turned her into a monster. If they're just going to die a meaningless death inside a gate anyway, wouldn't they rather be useful to somebody before they go? That's how she used to ask it. So what? She racks the slide and says it out loud. So what? So she had no choice? Is that it? Does she plan on spending her entire life hiding behind excuses like that? Blaming her own choices on fate? Living like a coward? Is she really? You have to live happily, sweetheart. Was she ever actually happy? She doesn't have an answer. Then Seoho was screaming her name. Watch your back. Damn it. She let her guard down, and something bright pink goes off right beside her head. Chae Kyung tells her that was for saving her life back there. Makes them even now. Saved her? Wait, she means back then? Chae Kyung wants to know why. Why she'd throw herself in front of a total stranger like it was nothing. Then she's shouting at Yujin to stop daydreaming and get over here. Now, Kang Yoon is out of mana and can't put up another barrier. Yusul asks if the boss's friend is frozen, because their skills are just that mind-blowing. And Yujin, you're human too. With your own two hands, you can bring somebody happiness. You can even save a life. So this time, she's going to be the one saving them. The spiders come again. They're swarming. Everyone gear up. Kang Yoon says these things aren't giving them a single second to breathe. Yujin reloads. Somebody screams, staying alive and getting her revenge. She thought those two things were all her life was ever meant for. That's why she thought trampling on other people to survive was just how the world worked. But strange as it is, eh? Purple blood goes everywhere. She finds herself second-guessing that choice. Something big shifts in the dark. She still can't let go of her revenge, except this time she's thinking of finding a different way forward. Stay behind me, Tae Yujin. He'll protect her. And for a second, she thinks it might be alright to trust somebody, just this once. Then she tells him she already told him. This time, she's the one who's going to keep him safe. Might as well give it a shot. Skill activation. Time freeze. And everything stops. Everything except her. Alright, let her show them what she's got. Here we go. She launches, and makes it about 4 steps. What the hell is this? Why does her body feel so heavy? Birdbrain forgot to mention. When time stops, gravity stops with it, so it added a little bit back in so she could move. It just didn't expect her to be this frail, so it's telling her that in under 30 seconds. 29 now. She has to wipe out every single one of those monsters, rescue those people, and keep Seoho safe. You son of a... 30 seconds on the clock. Every monster in this room has to be gone before it hits 0, and she can barely drag her feet thanks to the gravity Birdbrain saddled her with, which leaves exactly one option. Gun them all down. 1, 2, 3. She doesn't stop moving between shots. And for the grand finale, damn it, if she fires from this far out, she won't make it in time. Her EXP bar is nearly full. Agility, level 1. It's cutting cutting it close because her level is pathetic. It hurts to dump EXP like this, but agility gets pumped first. All right then, let's get this done. 10 seconds. She's already sprinting. 7, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Contact. Bang. And the last one comes apart in the air. Chae Kyung has no idea what just happened. Neither does anybody else. The bodies hit the floor all at once. What does she mean? What happened? Chae Kyung seriously owes her life this time. Something wet settles behind them. She complains that she went through absolute hell back there thanks to bird brain. Then the system interrupts her. First time use reward granted. Title acquired. Shameless Raider. She would very much like to know who exactly is calling her shameless, and whether she can reject it. She cannot. Tae Yujin. She looks up. Hold on, he says. Open up. Wait. Hey, Jin Seoho, why is he suddenly getting so... He puts a potion in her mouth. They'll handle the rest. Besides, the boss shouldn't be any higher than D rank anyway. She asks him what exactly he's getting at. Then she turns to Chae Kyung and mentions that she almost kicked the bucket back there. Chae Kyung did not almost kick the bucket. Sure. But since Chae Kyung owes her a life, she should think this through. If the trash mobs were at that level, how tough is the boss going to be? The boss chamber's rank has spiked. B rank at the absolute minimum. This is not going to be a walk in the park. Somebody asks what the hell that thing is. It's massive, she says, but killing it works like any other boss. Shatter the mana core on its chest and the gate shuts down. The core, deep purple and a very long way up. Somebody asks how they're even supposed to reach it. Yusul says to leave that part to him. Leave that part to him. He looks far too pleased about it. This ought to do the trick, right? Seoho puts the boss raid in their hands. Yusul covers Yujin. Everyone else takes the mobs. Got it, boss. They're going to rocket up there in a flash. So hold on tight and keep your balance, he says. She's already screaming. Nice. They just have to keep this momentum going. They're climbing fast. Tae Yujin. She's dropping. Something cuts past her in the dark. And somebody up there takes a hit. Birdbrain asks what she's waiting for. Use the skill. She asks whether it wants her flattened to death by gravity. And while they're on the subject, isn't it a constellation? Surely it has a brilliant plan. It says that if it could manifest a physical form, this would be doable. But in a spiritual form, it's far too difficult. She says that's a very long-winded way of saying it's got nothing. Screw it. She'll scale the wall herself. She gets a hand on the stone and goes up it like the floor rotated 90 degrees. She manages one breath before a spider launches at her. She points out that cheap-shotting somebody mid-climb is cheating. Somebody above her is having a much worse time. Kang Yoon wants to know how on earth she got up here. She ran up the wall. A climb like this is a piece of cake, huh? Then he's dangling off the edge, screaming for the nice lady to save him. She shoots twice more. He tells her he loves her. She notes that this guy isn't anywhere near sane himself, and thanks to that idiot, she is now completely out of bullets. In that case, she hauls herself up onto the ledge. No bullets, no backup. Her hand starts to glow, and she steps off. Skill activation. The one she's had since the very beginning. Gluttony.